I had a decision to make. I could take this seriously and put forth my best effort, or I can treat it as a hobby and stick to YouTube. It was an easy decision for me to pick the former, but I was aware of the consequences. It was the best thing to do for the business, but the worst thing to do for the channel. There's always something to do, and you simply cannot be both a full-time streamer and a productive comic book publisher. Some people will always see or want to see me as a YouTuber, but that's simply not the case anymore.
I'm happy with the fact that our effect is a little bit under the surface, and yet it keeps popping up and making itself known.
You guys are like the velvet underground of fandom. Your influence far outstretches your actual.
That's awesome.
Another telltale sign of a grifter is a person that has ingrained themselves into a community and portrays themselves as an authority on the topic, but clearly has no knowledge of that topic. A famous example is the grifter Eric July, aka Young Rippa 59, a YouTuber that has positioned himself as an authority on comic books. He uses this feigned authority to grift on the hatred of the MCU, and he famously flip-flopped on his like of Miles Morales when he realized he could grift on the racist hatred of a black Spider-Man.
Have a million spider folk, which doesn't even make sense when you consider Peter's origin.
So we got right here one video edit of mine based on mine and Bob's videos, as well as interactions on Twitter. So that's credit to us, and he's giving it to us, thankfully, in big red letters. Love it, Birdman.
I define everybody that's not Peter Parker as an unoriginal Peter Parker.
Talking about Peter Darker.
Fun fact, Eric used to like the character, even saying he's more than just a black Peter Parker, but he changed his tune when he found out he could make more money pandering to racist comic book fans who hate Miles Morales.
You're just actively making shit up, ha ha ha.
Did you used to like him? Not judging or whatever, just curious.
No.
Do you like Miles Morales then?
No.
Yeah, some characters have been written decently that are of different races and have suited up in the suit of a hero or a version of that hero. One of the more obvious is Miles Morales as Spider-Man. Morales has his own background. This is far better than just simply making Peter Parker a black guy. But Miles is an exception, make no mistake.
I define everybody that's not Peter Parker as an unoriginal Peter Parker.
Didn't he used to wear a Miles Morales ball cap at one point? Okay, I thought so.
This is somebody that's got 53,000 views. This is a guy with I don't know how many. Well, he's got what 100 something. I don't know.
Who, the Birdman?
250.
He's up there. He's got yeah.
And the fact, the point I'm trying to make here is that those moments, Bob's debate with him, and then these edits that I've done, they seemed like flash in the pan moments where he kind of like, I stuck it to you, motherfucker. But at the time I recognized, and the whole time I have maintained, that those are very profound moments. And obviously they are, because other people are recognizing it too. Those are going to continue to haunt this motherfucker for the rest of his days, I imagine. Meanwhile, the best thing to do is call us detractors and haters. You know what I mean? And I don't have to get rich to be to take a lot of pride in the fact that he's going to, he's going to turn on the internet. Maybe he won't see it for a while or whatever. He won't hear anything about it, but he's going to turn on the internet. He's going to get on there, and then he's going to see one of these edits. He's going to mention something from it, something like that. And it's going to fucking, his little fucking fragile ego. It's going to be torturous for him. And I love it. So even if he does continue to make any money off of this shit for years to come, it comes at a cost. And I'm happy to have provided part of that cost.
Yeah, y'all's content is extremely influential. Compared to your channel sizes and the view counts on the videos you make yourself. I mean, you're sending shockwaves to the entire fandom community. I've seen your content being used by like Xander Hall, the Birdman, a couple.
Based a couple of videos on stuff that I did, and and of course he did the work, and I won't take that from him or anything, but like the basis of those videos, which are pretty substantially important, like the connection between these grifters and the interconnected nature of the right-wing media sphere with these guys that people tend to see as just like independent, YouTubers. They're just telling it like it is when they're really not organic, or at least they maybe were, but they're not anymore. kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like that's really important that people understand that shit. And once again, I'm proud to have been used. He used me. I'm proud of it. Because once again, Pillar of Garbage is the man. In fact, I meant to show a thing, and I'll show that here in a minute. I meant to show at the beginning of the stream, but we were kind of late, so.
As being inaccurate to the source material, a topic we would actually agree on. The difference between he and I, however, is that Eric is very clearly a poser. A couple years ago, Eric had a debate with Bob from Organized Chaos. In that debate, Bob asked,
and Bob cannot stress enough how much he deserves all the credit for this. And in fact, Birdman uses an edit of this that I have not seen in a long time. Because the edit that I've done, with the little meme edits and stuff, it clips things much quicker, right?
Yeah.
Like this lets it breathe. And to see Bob, his reactions and the way that he kind of comes back at Eric and stuff, it just reminded me all over again. Bob is not to be fucked with, man. Like I know he's got peace and he's got whatever the fuck. Like fuck you, man. Like that is all just like a smoke screen to make you think that he's weak. He is not fucking weak, dude.
No, he's a Chad.
He is.
He should change his name to Chad.
a simple question that an actual comic book fan should have been able to answer.
Why? Like, you've read Amazing Fantasy number 15, right?
Just watch his face.
Let's go back to ISOM. What about it are you asking? What specific
wait. You've read Amazing
what
Fantasy number
specific
15,
action?
right?
Well, because Eric is a grifter and doesn't actually know what he's talking about, he proceeded to stall until someone in his chat provided the answer to Bob's question, and then, wouldn't you know it, Eric is suddenly answering the question as if he knew it all along.
What specific action are you asking pertaining
No.
to ISOM?
I'm going to get stuck on this one. You've read Amazing Fantasy number 15, right?
Are you what? Let's talk about ISOM. You just asked me a question.
In here in this moment, I fucking love it, dude. He's like, "Are you?"
Yeah.
Let's talk
This
about
is Bob realizing that this moment right here is Bob realizing that Eric July has no idea what he's talking about. He has no idea what he's being asked.
What specifically about the ISOM book is pertaining to like an action that you're asking about his motivations?
He's got a little screen down there, apparently. You know what I mean? Like a little chat.
Dude, have you read Amazing Fantasy number 15?
All right, this isn't a gotcha. Can you please answer the question pertaining to ISOM?
It kind of fucking is. You're talking about being a comic book fan.
Can you please answer the question?
Holy shit! Do you know what Amazing Fantasy 15 is?
There are plenty of people that don't.
Do you know what Amazing Fantasy 15 is?
There are plenty of people that don't know who Spider-Man is. Dipshit.
That's the point. Grifters often do not know what they're talking about, and they rely on you not knowing they don't know.
That was a nice Freudian slip from Eric right there, because he said plenty of people don't know who Spider-Man is, which is him admitting, without realizing he was admitting it, that he doesn't know. I mean, he knows who Spider-Man is, but he kind of let it slip that he didn't actually know.
But wait, there's more.
Eric July pretends to be an expert on comic books, but doesn't know what a
Bob's debate, my edit.
Legacy character is.
What is a comic book tradition? New legacy character. What do you mean new legacy character? Are you talking about knockoff versions? Is that what you're referring to?
Okay, so you understand what a legacy character is, right?
Yes, I'm asking you for clarification. Can you answer what the question I just had?
Well, I'm trying to understand how you are asking what a legacy character is. A legacy character is simply a character.
Saying, what do you mean by new legacy character? If they're a legacy character, they wouldn't be new.
The face slap on my edit.
No, legacy characters are characters that carry on the legacy. You understand that, right?
Yes, I understand that, but if it's a legacy character, the character itself has been there and it's ingrained in comic books, as you just said. So what do you mean new?
Huh? Oil? Who said something about oil? You cooking?
And the brainwashing has worked because the sheer amount of people that just repeat things these people say has completely.
Was Dave Chappelle your edit, or was that
no one on
Birdman
that side
edit?
seems to question?
That was him. That was Birdman, and welcome to it. Like Birdman wants, much like Pillar of Garbage, he's come out of the gate swinging. They do it differently, but they both do it very fucking well. I'll give the Chuds one thing: they pick up on where their weaknesses are really quick, and they will adapt. You know,
Mhm.
for example, Eric July would not, you know, go into a type of debate like that again. You know what I mean? I think he maybe did 1 or 2 kind of debates after Bob, and he hasn't done anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like
And
that's
you've created a bunch of legacy characters to carry on your legacy. You know, I think there's a good argument to be made that Birdman and maybe Pillar of Garbage would have gotten to it, but I'm not sure Birdman would have gotten to it in quite the way that he did without the groundwork you had laid without him knowing about it ahead of time.
I have no idea who started, you know, because of me directly, and I won't make any claims on that.
No, I don't mean directly. I mean that the influence of the initiative on the broader fandom community on YouTube.
I do feel like we showed people generally that, like, no, there, because I think the thing was that people had kind of written YouTube off as like, there's no point in even talking about these guys because like they're just going to benefit from it, and it's kind of like they're so bad faith it doesn't do any good. And I do think that the initiative came along and said, no, man, if you do it smart, if you don't take them at face value, you don't give them benefit of the doubt, and you recognize that they've given you enough fucking examples, they've shown a clear pattern for long enough that you should not enter into any engagement with them as if they're just like coming from a sincere place, because they're not. And if you think they are, you're already off on the wrong foot, and you shouldn't talk about them. You know, and I know that because they use that benefit of the doubt shit to their advantage. You know, they're we just have a different opinion kind of thing. It's like, no, you don't. You have a grift. You know what I mean? And maybe your audience, they have a different opinion, but they've gained that opinion through your grift. And as long as you approach it from that level, and you don't take them seriously, you show that they're not really fans. They cannot weather that. That's the thing that Eric July really fucking lost his shit over, was being shown to not really be the fan that he presents himself as. That's the reason why none of these Fandom Minutes guys would ever fucking just have a conversation with us. So why Mahler and EFAP and those guys would not have a conversation with us, because our content clearly shows, and we clearly lay out the arguments and point out why what they're doing is it's either dishonest or just fucking stupid or wrong, or, you know, surface level, whatever it is. It's all there, and we've shown it over and over and over again as the initiative for over 2 years, myself for almost 5 years. You know, you can only go so far with that before it's like, you know,
and as a result,
that's why Turf
as
Nation,
a result,
you know what I mean? Because he has other stuff he's doing in his life, and you know, fucking salute to him. I'm sure he's going to do well with that. But like, also for the past year, just to be honest, like when Turf Nation and I would get into a private conversation, we would kind of just be like, man, it's starting to, we acknowledge that we felt our gas decreasing on this shit. You know what I mean? Like, and not in a bad way, because we'd look around and see he and I being, from all I can tell, the originals, you know. He was the only one I saw doing it, and vice versa. And then now we're like, man, the landscape has truly fucking changed.
Right. That's what I was going to say. As a result of your efforts, of the initiative's efforts, the anti-fandom space has contracted, and there's now only like a few big names, like really big channels like Nerdrotic, Critical Drinker mainly, and the rest of them are dying off.
I mean, they're smaller. They're splintered off, and part of that is due to their own fucking idiocy and their own bullshit that we had nothing to do with. But then part of it is by us, you know, pressing on pressure points and pounding on their fault lines that we could clearly see. You know, I was calling the breakup between Rippaverse and Comicsgate over a year at least before it happened, and I knew, and I was waiting for it. I was like, the moment that this happens, I'm going to be pounding that fault line. I'm going to be making content against both of them, and then, you know, and I did. You can go back and look and see where that happened and see the content that I started putting out about both of these guys. It's like, I'm going to inflame this shit because they deserve it, and and they, you know, their audience can't help it. The chuds that watch our videos, they can't help but downvote and leave negative comments and shit like that because they think that it somehow negatively affects us, and it doesn't. It only positively affects us. And no matter how many times you tell them that, they won't fucking listen. They think because they feel like they have some kind of power by downvoting and shit. It's like, no, please downvote my videos, please. I built my channel on your fucking downvotes, you morons.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing on my channel. Like almost all the comments I get that are negative, I say, hey, I respond. When I get a hate comment, first of all, I like it. I give it a little heart. And then I respond and say, hey, thanks for commenting and helping boost this video in the algorithm. And about 80% of the time, they keep responding and saying even meaner things about me. And all I ever say, or not all I ever say, but what I usually say every time they respond back is, hey, thanks for boosting this video again and again. And they,
yeah, I mean, to your point, Blood, I mean, I do have to, I guess, in a way, hats off to the originals who tried to push back against this shit, because without them, you know, I wouldn't have been able to look out and go, that's not working. You know what I mean? Like the people that are like coming at them sincerely and trying to have honest, sincere debates about the ideas and about the media, and thinking that they're gonna, you know, sway some, you know, it's naive on their part, and and you know, and but I mean, at the same time, I respect the fact that they gave it a shot. But you were dealing with a new class of people now. We're talking about Birdman, Pillar, Anthony, Organized Chaos, you know, Chariot, like people who understand not just media, but in many cases, politics, culture,
right,
fascism. You know what I mean? And that's where they really fucking are not, they don't know how to handle it, because we know them better than they know us. They're still trying to do, you know, they kept trying to do the same, like, oh, you're woke, detractors, haters, SJWs, just repeating the same bullshit. Meanwhile, we have studied them, you know, and we understand what it is they're doing, why they're doing it, how they do it, and we can break down their grift, you know, probably better than they understand it in some cases. So,
right. And the important thing that you did differently, I think, and this is paralleled in the explicitly political spaces on YouTube, is you understood that this is all theater. And what matters is that you project strength and make your opponents look like fools, not that you have the better argument. And you're very, very good at that.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a good bullshit detector, and you know, I in particular, I might be the only one that I know of that started YouTube specifically to do this. It wasn't like you know, like Bob started, he was covering it. He had a whole channel and a lot of success before, you know, and then he stumbled into this shit. It was like, oh God.
How many times you think we ain't felt all the things? How many times we said we oppose taxation? What about the roads? How many times? What about the roads? I don't understand it.